Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Hosea 10. So we're going to get right into this. I'm not going to delay. I actually have some stuff I need to go do later, and I'm dog tired right now, so I'm trying to get myself woke up. But we're going to get right into this because this is a continuation of chapter 9, Israel's sin and captivity. Israel empties Israel empties his vine. He brings forth fruit for himself. According to the multitude of his fruit, he has increased the altars. According to the bounty of his land, they have embellished his sacred pillars. Their heart is divided. Now they are held guilty. He will break down their altars. He will ruin their sacred pillars. For now they say, we have no king, because we did not fear the Lord. And as for a king, what would he do for us? They have spoken words, swearing falsely in making a covenant. This judgment springs up like hemlock in the furrows of the field. The inhabitants of Samaria fear because of the calf of Bethaven. For its people mourn for it, and its priests shriek for it, because its glory has departed from it. Is this talking about the red heifer? You know, everybody's been talking about the red heifer thing. They evidently sent some from here from Texas over there. Is that what this is talking about? What they're trying to do now? Getting the temple built? The Lord's kept them from building it. How interesting. That may be what that's referring to. Verse 6, the idol also shall be carried to Assyria as a present for King Jeroboam. Ephraim shall receive shame, and Israel shall be ashamed of his own counsel. As for Samaria, her king is cut off like a twig on the water. Also the high places of Avon, the sin of Israel, shall be destroyed. The thorn and thistle shall grow on their altars. They shall say to the mountains, cover us, and to the hills, fall on us. Wait. They shall say to the mountains, cover us, and to the hills, fall on us. You know where else we hear that same phrase? Revelation chapter 6. Let's run over there real quick. We're on Hosea 10:8. It's in the last verse, second to the last verse. So, verse 15, 16, and 17. And the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave and every free man, hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath is come, who is able to stand. How interesting. Oh, wait. We're on 10. How interesting. How interesting. They shall say to the mountains, cover us, and the hills fall on us. I wonder if that's what that's referring to. Because that's where you hear that same ideology there. Verse 9. O Israel, you have sinned from the days of Gibeah. There they stood, the battle in Gibeah, against the children of iniquity. Do not overtake them, or did not overtake them. When it is my desire, I will chasten them. People shall be gathered against them when I bind them for their two transgressions. Ephraim is a trained heifer that loves to thresh grain, but I harnessed her fair neck. I will make Ephraim pull a plow. Judah shall plow. Jacob shall break the clods. Sow for yourselves righteousness. Reap in mercy. Break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord, till he comes and rains righteousness on you. This sounds like tribulation. This sounds like tribulation. Verse 13, you have plowed wickedness. You have reaped iniquity. You have eaten the fruit of lies, because you trusted in your own way, in the multitude of your mighty men. Therefore tumult shall arise among your people. That's right now. And all your fortresses shall be plundered, as Shalman plundered Beth Arbel in the day of battle. A mother dashed in pieces upon her children. Thus it shall be done to you, O Bethel, because of your great wickedness. At dawn the king of Israel shall be cut off utterly. Now, who would be considered the king of Israel? Since it said earlier in the chapter they had no king. Well, they're going to make the Antichrist their king. Could that be referring to the Antichrist? Guys, I'm seeing all tribulation talk right here. And a lot of links to some other parts in the Bible. Well, then we know that the king of Israel, the Antichrist, notice it's a lowercase k instead of a capital one, so it's not Jesus. He shall be utterly cut off, or cut off utterly. Well, what's going to happen to the Antichrist? He's going to be cut off utterly. So, yeah, this is what this is talking about here. Hosea 10 is linking right to the tribulation and right to the book of Revelation. But we're seeing what's going to happen to Israel, too. They're going to break up their fallow ground in that 3.5 years that they're hitting. The second 3.5 years. Interesting. Very interesting. Again, another short chapter, but look at where it's referring to. See, we can't get away from this. Reading through these prophets, you can't get away as to what their speech is and what it's referring to. Now, it's in very cryptic speech. But once you start to understand what these little references are and what they refer to, and you go through the rest of the Bible and find that, you start to see a picture being painted here. And it's all about tribulation and what's going to happen in that day. God is being very clear to reiterate his point. This time frame is coming, and you are going to go through it. I will deal with my children Israel. I will deal with them. So he's making it very clear to them. And this is the kind of speech that they would understand back then. So back then they should have gotten the point. Oh, wait, there's a time coming when he's going to do this. When is that going to be? And now they always thought that every time there was a disaster that happened to them or they were taken over again, they thought that was it. But it never lasted 7 years. That last 7 years, that's the key one. That's the big one. And every one of these prophets is linking to it. And we can tell this by the wording being used in referencing to certain things. Go back up to verse 8. They shall say to the mountains, cover us, and to the hills, fall on us. Why? Because of the destruction that's coming. The wrath that's coming. Hide us from the face of the Lamb, for the day of his wrath has come. How amazing. How amazing to witness that, to see these connections here in here. And it doesn't take much research to really find out whether that's a hard connection to that or not. It looks to me like it is, because immediately that's the first thing I thought of. That's Revelation chapter 6, last 3 verses. And then he goes on. At dawn, the king of Israel shall be cut off utterly. Lowercase k. Well, I wonder what king that is. It's probably the fake one, the false one, the bad one that they had. Because it said they didn't have a king. Who is that king? Antichrist. This is all talking about that time frame. They're going to come around. They're going to realize, break up their fallow ground, and plow righteousness. Well, God's going to rain righteousness on them, as verse 12 says. So, yeah, again, more confirmation. I mean, there's really not much else we can do except to maybe find some little secrets here hidden to this and hidden to that. I'm not going to sensationalize any of this. The Bible is clear. That's going to be a rough time of who it's dealing with. And we're seeing this being repeated over and over and over again. With different details. With different types of descriptive speech. Driving the same point home. It's a rough time. It's going to be a bad time. Now's your chance in the age of grace to get saved, because it's about to end. And once it ends, tribulation. Tribulation, tribulation. All right, so tomorrow is going to be Hosea 11. God's continuing love for Israel. So now we're going to see a change. He has to come and do this, but we're going to see a change come after that. And that should be interesting. Just like the other prophets, God proclaims his love for Israel. I'm still going to love my people. I'm still going to save my people. But there's some stuff that has to be dealt with first. He does the same thing with the church. Judgment starts in the house of God. He's doing the same thing in the church right now. Judgment is here. He's judging his church. He's cleansing his church. Because persecution always cleanses the church. And that's what's happening. The church is under persecution. Have you seen what they're talking about with Christians today? It's happening. This is just a picture of what's going to happen with Israel. Just a picture. But what's amazing is that the plan of God is going to bring it all together to its ultimate conclusion. And that is going to be the revealing of our Lord as King. And the revealing of Israel as his people, the true Israel. And the revealing of the church as the bride. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.